All right, welcome to another episode of this week's Coach's Show. Cody Eastis alongside head coach Brent Hoelting. As always, Coach, appreciate your time sitting down with me midweek. And you just said it, these always much more fun to do after a big win. The Greenbacks coming off of one of those Friday night, 41-0 the score against Halstead. Talk about the feeling of getting 1-1 and righting the ship.
Yeah, we challenged our kids last week. We talked a lot about we're going to play the game the right way. I told them in my version that you're going to play with your hair on fire. You're going to play really hard. Doesn't mean you're going to play perfect. We made a lot of mistakes, but we played hard Friday night. And, you take a team and, comparative scores are always an iffy thing. But them and Heston was 14-7. Halfway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we talked about that going into that game.
Yeah, and they had their chances. I thought, in fact, they should have probably been up. And then I thought we put it to them. We scored 21 in the first quarter, 35 in the first half. Scored a variety of ways, offensively, defensively, special teams, return, fumble return. So anytime you can get all three phases going, and we played really hard, that's what I was proud of. I thought it was a really good effort by our kids.
You mentioned scoring all three phases. I would say that game may have been one of the top games of seeing the bounce go our way if I hadn't seen the Owen Schmidt game last year.
Yeah, we were just talking about that tonight. Josiah hates talking about it. I'm like, it's Owen Schmidt week this week.
It is this week. It is. But back to that point, we said it in the booth a couple times. Usually you hope the bounces go your way is just a catchphrase or a saying. Friday night, literally the bounces going the Greenbacks' way. DeMuth with the big scoop after the failed punt by the Dragons, and then Morrell getting one on the defensive end as well, and just catching those in stride and heading for the end zone.
Yeah, and what you said, caught them in perfect stride. But again, that doesn't happen if they're not hustling to the football. Landon got a really good get off on the punt. He would have had a chance maybe to block it. Got a really good get off, and then Arlie got off the ball, shed a block, and was right there for the pitch to be put in the ground and pick it up and go. So I think when you play really hard, good things tend to happen to you, and I thought that's what happened to us Friday night.
Yeah, you could see it. A couple other things as far as total yards. Greenbacks finished with 343 total yards on the night. We mentioned a couple of the touchdowns, but 6 total on the evening. Morrell finished with 2, DeMuth with 1, Liggett with 1, Poor with 1, and Barker with 1. 289 yards on the ground, and it started with Creston Poor, that second play of the game, breaking that big 65-yarder, taking it to the house for his first rushing touchdown of the season. And talk about just that setting the tone for the game.
Yeah, Creston's getting more and more confident running the ball. He always tell me he's just such a strong kid. He's a good athlete, and what he really did there, all night I thought there were cutback lanes. We missed a few, but Creston did a great job vision-wise, cutting it back. And we talk about you cut it back, you get to second level, then you go hash the numbers the sideline. Creston did a good job of that, broke a couple tackles at the end, and I thought that, like you said, it was huge, set the tone for us for all night.
Yeah, it did, and then that's when turn around and get one of them defensive touchdowns, and it just snowballed from there.
And then we got the kick,
the
bounce right to
Caleb Strong right on that. Now, question in real time was that a called kind of pooch kick?
Yes.
Or was it just a miss kick that worked out perfectly?
No. Levi was great on that. I mean, that was perfect. He put it perfectly where we wanted it to go. We thought they were sagging off there, and we're like, we'll put it there. If nothing else, they'll fall on it, and they don't get a return, or maybe we get something. Levi kicked a perfect kick. Caleb did a great job of hustling down there, and that was big for us.
At Tebow, he was one of my notes. I think he would have been 6 for 6 on the night had I not jinxed him in the press box.
I heard that on the radio broadcast. It was that was a big time
rookie
jinx.
mistake.
Yeah.
I get called out on it every time I do it, and he was 5 for 5 up until that point and missed that one. But a great night kicking.
Well,
let's not shine the spotlight on me. Let's put it back on Tebow here. Had a great night kicking extra points.
No, he did. He's getting better and better in his leg. We talked about at the end of the game kicking a field goal just to practice it, but I'm like, man, we're up 41-0. That last when we went for it, when the running clock, I'm like, I don't want to kick a field goal here, and but we wanted to do it just to work on it and to give Levi a chance to kick a field goal because his legs getting better and better. We think he can go from 40 out. So it's another weapon for us. He's putting kickoffs a lot deeper. He's getting better and better at being able to aim where we put kickoffs, and that's a big deal when you can place them. So Levi's a weapon for us.
You talk about weapons on Friday night, the ground game, one of the weapons for the Greenbacks, 289 yards on the ground. Liggett leading the way with 19 carries, 125 yards, and that one touchdown. To me, it looked like the focus on Friday night was we're going to play physical. We're going to run between the tackles, and we're going to emphasize that to show we can play some physical football coming off of that
You know
Hoisington
me
game.
well. Right. And the kids know, we talked about, I'm like, guys, what do I hate worse than anything? Like soft football. I'm like, yeah, I don't like soft. And I don't like that term lobbed around. And we challenged them all week. And, I told them all week it was one of those. And I was really proud of our kids. It was, all of our kids. I told them at the beginning of the week, if we don't think you're playing with your hair on fire, you're not playing physical, you're playing soft, we're going to send you to run a pull. If you do it again, you're going to run two. You do it again, you're gonna, and so we're going to get the message that we're going to play football the right way. We're going to play it with passion, intensity, and it's one of those. I said at the end of the week, it was either going to be they were going to be like, forget this guy, all right, we're done with this, or we were going to respond. And I was really, really proud of our kids and how they responded.
Yeah, it looked like they responded really well Friday night. Some other numbers on the ground there. We mentioned Poor, his 2 carries for the 75 yards and a touchdown. Titus also picking up 4 carries, 31 yards, and Morrell another touchdown on the ground, along with Barker, round out the 6 there. We mentioned Barker leading the team again in tackles, 8 tackles tonight, had 14 against Hoisington, really making a name for himself there at that linebacker position, anchoring down the Greenback defense.
And it's birthday today, right? Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Kyler. No, Kyler's doing a great job. His instincts are fantastic. He's just got, and he does a good job of knifing in there. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's quick. He's done a great job everywhere. He's running well. He tackles really well when he gets there. He's a really sure tackler. But his instincts are really, really good. We try to put Kyler in spots where he can go flow to the football because he reads really well, and he's done a good job these first 2 games of getting there and then finishing tackles once he's there.
You always talk about with this offense that it's got wrinkles we haven't seen yet or that are in the playbook that haven't been brought out. Friday night saw a few of those. One, the I formation. We saw Liggett backed up in the I formation. And another one that wasn't confirmed until after the game when you text me that Josiah Schmidt did carry the ball in that ball game. Talk about a couple of those wrinkles that were thrown in Friday night.
Yeah, we want to have some fun with that. Josiah's been begging me for a carry, but then he didn't break any tackles. So we've been teasing him that we're going to give it to someone else next time. No, the I formation, we thought maybe we could do some stuff. The pistol, we thought we could do some stuff, play action out of it, get Cade rolling downhill a little bit. They know who we're going to snap to then. They know some things we're going to do. But also I thought, unfortunately we had a couple, when it's new, we had a couple miscommunications one time. The only time we had to punt, we were supposed to roll one way, we rolled the other way, and we had a flood concept. And unfortunately, it's the plays you do that when you have one guy wide open, running for what would have been a touchdown. It's just the first time you break anything out. We had that. I thought we did a couple. We spread it out a little more. Did a bubble. Did a bubble go. We had a guy wide open on that one. Missed him. We want to do some of those things to where defenses can't just load up on us. On the run, we know we're going to run. We know we're going to be physical, but if we can complement it with that, and then getting them to thinking, getting our guys moving, getting our athletes out in space a little bit this year, that's what we want to do. And we try to throw a few in every week, as much as the kids can handle and still play fast.
You talk about some of your athletes. One of the standouts for the Greenbacks this year, senior Arlie Morrell. Kind of a neat thing Friday night, his tight end coach from Colorado State, where he's committed at that ball game. Talk about just that a little bit, that atmosphere and kind of how that is as a head coach and your other players to see that, to have a player on that stage where you've got the D1 coach coming to the ball game, just not something that schools this size experience too often.
The funny thing is Coach Chestnut, he's a really good guy. He came in and he got in about 1 p.m. and kind of hung out in my office and talked football. Right now they can't contact, so he couldn't talk to Arlie, but he just wanted to come. We talked for a while. He was incredibly impressed with Pratt. He's like, man, it's a small school. Your guys' atmosphere is awesome, and your crowd, and so that was a lot of fun for him to see Zerger. I think it's something our kids can look up to. I mean, when you see, hey, man, we're Pratt, but we got opportunities everywhere. And you got a coach like that coming in, standing on your sidelines. It juices all of our other kids up because they know, a coach from a Division I school is there. So it's just a lot of fun to be a part of. And again, Arlie's work has earned all of that. So just super proud of him, and the hard work has paid off that he's put in. But it's really fun. It's a neat opportunity for everybody in the program.
Yeah, just neat to see. Like I said, all the years have been around. Haven't
Yeah.
seen that too often, a player of that stage, and well deserved for Morrell. So
Yeah.
fun to see how the rest of the season plays out for him. Time to hand out some awards. See, again, if ours matched yours, we had a few one vacant again, but I think we erred on that, just not seeing it in real time.
Right.
We'll start with our Timish Electric player of the game. We gave that one to Morrell. He was the only greenback with multiple touchdowns, had the rushing and the defensive. So that kind of set him apart in our eyes when it came to tiebreaker with all those other greenbacks that were in the touchdown column. Mead Lumber hit stick of the week. We didn't see one in real time. And then after the game, though, I do remember Gavin Roop having a big one. And
Did.
you told me, though, there was some on the kickoff
was.
that we might not have seen from the booth. So talk about those.
Yeah, Sebastian Beach got our hit stick of the week. I mean, he twice he brought the boom on kickoffs, and he loves contact. I told the kids, and we were talking about it today. He was pretty excited. Sebastian, day after day, is our most physical kid. I mean, he's a hitter. He loves to hit. You've been around the game long enough. You see people that just have that knack for hitting people, and he's one of those guys. So he was pretty excited to get that, and it's going to be one of those. Kids are going to have to fight to get it away from him every week because he's going to go for it every week.
Okay, well, apologies to
likes to
Sebastian
hit.
for us missing that one in the booth.
Offensive player of the game. I thought he hit the hole really, really hard. Thought he did some good things and controlled the game when we needed a first down. There were a couple times, 3rd and 4th and short, that we missed a couple of times blocking, and he powered through. I thought Cade Liggett had a good game. We gave him the offensive player of the game. Defensive player of the game, we moved him. We had him interior last week, and thought just his strength and physicality on the edges with what they like to run. We Josiah Schmidt, I thought, had a fantastic game defensively. He just crushed everything down. They had a really hard time running his way. He manhandled the guy across from him. So we thought just from a holistic standpoint, I know it's easy to look at the stats and stuff. I thought Josiah had an excellent game defensively. Special teams was Landon DeMuth, with the fumble return.
Yeah.
That was big for us. Could have very easily been Levi or Caleb as well. Both had great games. And then scout team player of the week was a kid who's really, really grown. And you saw a little bit, he completed a pass, had a couple good runs towards the end of the game, but Kristen Cichone is really coming on, works his butt off every day in practice, and he's really becoming a really good football player before our eyes. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do the next few years.
And that's something we always seem to touch on it at some point in the season. Those younger players, once they're able to get in and get some varsity minutes in a ball game like that, where the varsity's kind of got it sealed up, got it locked up, then you can get those younger guys in there in those varsity reps, and man, they just prove to be invaluable.
Oh, huge. I think any time, and there's nothing more fun than when you got a shutout or whatever, and the kids, they know my wife cooks some victory cookies.
I was going to ask
week,
what the shutout tradition was.
Shutout is
that
breakfast. So Coach Miller brought him breakfast this morning to film. So those kids get excited, and they're hanging on pins and needles, and they're coaching the heck out of the young kids that are in there. Making sure they don't score a touchdown, and making sure we do things the right way.
Yep.
So that's always fun. And like you said, the more you can get those kids experience and just with the crowd, with everything there, it just benefits you in the future.
Yeah, just live reps that you can't simulate. Big game coming up Friday night against longtime rival Larned. As we move on to it, you mentioned it, the Owen Schmidt week as the game he had last year. But that was last year. This is this year. Every year you got to prepare like it's a new year. And last year's ball game, heavily in Pratt's favor, 70-0 that score. But this year, how you got the kids prepared for this longtime rival that it doesn't matter the year or the score previously. You always put something extra on longtime rivals, whether it's Larned or Hoisington, not Kingman anymore, but there's always those rivalry games that have been long-standing games, and Larned definitely one of them.
Yeah, for sure. Larned now is our longest-standing rival. We know that. We put a lot into this game. We know that they're going to try to do everything they can to beat us. That it makes their season. If they would beat Pratt, luckily for us, they haven't in a few years. But they're big up front. They've got some speed. They've got some height. At a receiver, a quarterback throws it well. They run a lot of different things. They're one of those teams you have to be prepared for because they run a multitude of formations and sets and things they like to do, from spread to option to power game. And then defensively, a lot of different looks. whether 2 high, 1 high, no high safeties. They mix up coverages. They'll mix up fronts, walk people down. So it's one of those games that we're really going to have to communicate, which I really like those games early in the season. Force you to communicate, force you to pay attention, to read stuff pre-snap, and then hopefully be able to take advantage of the stuff that they're giving us.
All right, Coach. Well, always appreciate your time. Looking forward to a good matchup Friday night. We'll see you then, and best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, that's head coach Brent Hoelting.